Welcome to my little space, where heart and hook stitch up a place, where we can together make a refuge, safe for all our sake. This is a glimpse into the future when I have finished this leafling top. Alright, I'm doing some raking, so this area looks nicely raked. And I just wanted to show off everywhere where our grass was kind of sparse. I tossed out a whole bunch of clover seed and it's really filling in. I did that right before our last rain, which was only like, maybe a week ago? I don't remember now, but it feels all plush to walk on. So I'm over here raking. As you can see, this is where I've already raked. This is where I'm currently raking. Let's see, this is what it looks like before I rake. This is what it looks like after. See what a mess all these pine needles are? I also really need to take care of the weeds in here. So after I rake, I'm gonna start spraying for some of those weeds. It also really needs to be mowed, don't judge me. It's enough to just sort of always be tackling the worst parts. So all this needs to be raked, as you can see, but look what I noticed. It's like we have a fairy yard. I don't know anything about mushrooms, so I don't know if these are edible, but I've always disliked mushrooms. But yeah, I noticed that from way over here at this angle. I was like, what is that? It looks like a little alien city. So cute. There's all sorts of little mushrooms here. We have a lot of water leak issues. So my dad is getting somebody to come and put in a whole new sprinkling system, watering system, so that we don't have overwatered areas. We have overwatered areas like this, and then we have underwatered areas that just, the grass can't stay alive. So I'm also trying to help the water usage for our yard space by tossing out clover seed wherever the grass is dying. And hopefully the clover will spread and intermingle a lot with the grass as a ground cover, because clover doesn't use as much water, and so yeah, it doesn't need as much water, and so then we can keep a nicer looking lawn without having to use as much water. We have already a big patch of clover over here. It's not super active right now. This turns into a huge patch that covers like this whole area. Anyway, it's really cool to see crops of clover wherever I dropped the seeds. Hello friends! So I decided to wait on the leaf details of the lines until after I finished all 4 panels. So I have all 4 panels. They're the front 2 panels where they're going to tie together in the front, and the back 2 panels. Let's see, the ties at the top are for the straps. And I was getting really nervous as I was finishing these last back panels, the edging on these, because I didn't know if it was going to fit right. I was a little worried it was going to be too big, because it's a little form-fitted top. You don't want it gappy, super loose. So I plugged away, I trusted the process, and then I pinned all 4 of them together along where they're going to be seamed, and I tried it on, and it is so perfect. It is so perfect. The fit is just right to where it's not like stretching tight to fit. It just fits, and it's got such a nice shape. I think it's so flattering. So I wanted to just stitch it together. I almost started seaming it together right then and there, but then I thought, you know what, it'll be so much easier to do the top stitching of the details on the panels if I do that before seaming them together. So that's what I'm going to be doing. My goal for today, crochet wise, is to finish this top so I can photograph it tomorrow And I have an idea for an accessory that I really want to make to photograph with it. So there's a leaf garland. I will link to the pattern in the description, as I don't remember right off the top of my head who wrote this pattern, but I will include her name too, or his. But yeah, it's just a garland of leaves, and I've made it before. I used it as a decoration on a sleeve of one of those Flower of Life shrugs before, and I want to just make one that's a good length to have it wrap around your neck once and like dangle down. So it's like a necklace, a scarf, but really like a necklace. I think that would be really cool to include in the photographs, and then possibly as a new item in my shop. So stay tuned for that. That's my goal for today, is to finish the detailing, stitch these panels together, and make a leaf garland necklace so I can photograph all that tomorrow morning. And just so happens, this is totally happenstance, my dress today, it's all covered in lots and lots of leaves and flowers, but lots of leaves. So I feel good about today. Okay, I went and watched the final episode of The Haunting of Bly Manor with my mom, and it's pretty good. I want to say it's pretty good because I cared about the characters. Not a perfect show, but pretty good. So while watching that, I did all of this, the beginnings of the stitching. Now each one of these coming down is going to have smaller ones branching off. So this is just sort of the first step, and I've got 3 panels done like that. And look at the backs. This is gonna be fun to weave in all those ends. So that's what I've got so far. And I thought I would do on time lapse the last one, that portion of it, sort of the main center vein and the main side veins. And then I'll get to work on all of the little tiny spidery ones. It's not going to be a ton more of this stitching, but there's going to be some time sunk in for weaving in ends. Okay, first leaf is done with all the little extra lines, and I think it's beautiful, but look at the back. I have to somehow get all those ends hidden into the fabric without it showing in an obvious way. Okay, so you want to hear my strategy so I don't go crazy? This is the first one I did. I already showed you the front, but look, the back now has all the ends woven in, and look how nice and tidy that looks. The extra little lines here did not actually take that long to do, but the weaving in the ends is a little bit hellish. So I have a strategy now for the rest of the 3 panels. I had already gotten a start at this one. As you can see, it has a few of the extra little lines here. The stitching of the lines goes by super quick, but then it's the weaving in of the ends that is just like, you know? So it is 4 o'clock now. It's about 4 o'clock now. I'm going to finish this leaf in terms of the lines and getting the ends woven in as quickly as I can. And then however long that takes, I can, as long as I get it done significantly before 5 o'clock, I can take a break until 5 o'clock when I start the next one. And then at 6 o'clock, I'll start the next one. And that way I'm kind of spacing it out and I can do other things in between. So what those other things are, I don't really know, but we'll see. It worked. My plan worked. I got through it that night without too much stress. And here's a flat lay. And of course, I would say I can't wait to show it to you, but I've already shown you at the beginning of the video. But you'll see the rest of my photo shoot coming up in a bit. But first, here are the couple of Etsy reviews that I got this week. Last year, I came up with this design that I called Mossy Cropped Hex Cardigans, and I made a few different color schemes, and I made like several sizes of each one. And so I was really pleased, not only that somebody found this one and loved it and wanted to buy it, but once she got it in the mail, she loved it so much she wants to buy another one. So that is very validating. And then another validating thing is somebody appreciating the comedy that I felt was requisite in putting into a flying spaghetti monster crochet pattern. I dove into this next project before giving any introduction to what I was doing, but this is from a recent tutorial on Starlily Creations Patreon for a spiderweb poncho. Well, this is the day I wanted to get out here this morning and photograph the leaf top, but I forgot that it was going to rain. So it's been raining lightly off and on. So that gets pushed back to tomorrow. I should be able to photograph that tomorrow morning. And then maybe the next morning I can photograph a spiderweb vest that I'm making from Starlily Creations tutorial. Okay, so even though I haven't modeled it for a photo shoot yet, here it is on a hanger. Isn't that gorgeous? So I tried this on last night and I was so excited. I ran out and showed everybody. I don't normally go out and show everybody in the house everything I make, but look how awesome these these bows look sitting on the shoulders. It's so cute. But what I was super impressed by was the shaping. This has such a perfect shape to it that it doesn't even need to like snug anywhere. It has like the shape all on its own, and it just fits around me like it was made for me. So super duper props to Cozy Fairy Craft for coming up with this pattern. I absolutely love it. If I had one bit of feedback, it would be that I think I would do, if I'm going to make this again, I'm going to do the top stitching differently. I'll just use a needle with the yarn, and I'll do, I don't even know embroidery terms, but I would do an embroidery stitch that looks the same as this. Whichever embroidery stitch that looks the same as this, I would do that, because then I could do a line and then continue with the same strand and do more lines, continuing with the same strand. And I would just have the loose bit of yarn in between each bit of stitching, just go to the next spot on the back side. So the inside wouldn't be as pretty, but with the crocheting of the design in surface slip stitches, what that ended up resulting in was for every single line, individual line, we have 2 yarn ends to weave in. So like even this little line right here has 2 yarn ends to weave in. So that was a lot of yarn ends. I could save myself a lot of work time by embroidering instead of crocheting. So that's what I'll do if I make another one, which I definitely would like to. I'll try to sell some, and I may just want one for myself. I just don't know how much I would actually wear it. So I have to think about that. But maybe I'll make one to sell, and then if it never sells, then it's mine anyway. So yeah, I'll get to photographing that tomorrow morning. Sorry for the squeaky chair. And then to show you the next thing I'm working on. Oh, and then also, I did say I wanted to make a leaf garland necklace. But after I put that on with the bow details at the shoulders and the bow details here and here, and just the beautiful top itself, I didn't want to busy that up with anything else. So since I have another order to make, I didn't want to bother making that now, and especially because I don't want to photograph it with that, but I still do want to make that at some point soon because I really like that idea. So I got an order for Star Lily's new design of a spiderweb poncho. So each panel is going to have the same 4 colors: pink, light gray, black, and then mine is a like a variegated gray that shifts between lighter and darker gray. But each panel is different. So each panel will have one main color in the center. So I have 2 panels done so far. This is actually like almost exactly the same color selection that Star Lily used for her tutorial on Patreon. And I went and joined her Patreon again. I have been a patron in the past, but once I kind of got the patterns that I, gleaned from that after being a patron for like a year on her Patreon, I decided to cancel that. And I figured I'll just join again if there's something in there that I really need to make and I really need to get her tutorial for. So my very, very best customer, hi Alicia, she wanted this poncho that Star Lily made and posted about, and she wanted it in the same colors. So it just so happens that this is the color selection that Star Lily used for the actual tutorial. So it's a fun, easy, quick pattern. Like these panels work up super quick. So this poncho, I'm going to make another one in the exact same color scheme because I've got enough of the yarn right here anyway, and they work up so quick. It'll be quicker to make 2 at a time than one at like a separate time, because I'm going to get out a bunch of materials for the fringe too, and I'd rather just tackle that for 2 at once. Then I'll have one for Alicia and another one available because I think it's really cool and I think it'll sell. So that's what I'm doing now. It's fun to get back into spider webs because it is the season for spider webs. And anything else I want to tell you about? I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, just a regular checkup. And I need to get a plumber over to fix my shower. But I wasn't going to tell you about those things. So there you go. Now you know. Okay, while I was crocheting that square, it occurred to me that I should come back and apologize. Because I said I have a best customer, and I call her that because she's bought the most from me out of any of my customers ever on Etsy. But I love you all. I don't love any of you more or less than another, except for that one guy that's a total creepazoid. He doesn't ever need to come back to my shop. That would be great. He might not. He might be in jail. I'm not sure. I had my sister-in-law. Well, I didn't have her. She chose to kind of keep tabs on this guy online, and it turns out he had a creepy website that had a lot of stuff that very, very much seemed like he was into maybe CP, and he had been arrested in the past before for it, and it looked like he was getting arrested again. And he was a total jerk to me. He bought my flying spaghetti monster. And like, how could a pastafarian be an awful person? But this guy was. Anyway, that's beside the point. Here is the cool square I just made. I think it's beautiful, but these work up so fast. I mean, you couldn't tell how fast that, I mean, it seemed really fast for you, right? On time lapse. It's kind of hard to see probably with all that negative space. You need like a solid color to see it properly. Or like, yeah, against the white or the yellow wall or the green chair. But yeah, cool. So I only have one more square to make for this poncho, and I'm gonna just jump into making another 4 identical squares to make 2 ponchos. And who knows, maybe I'll make 3 or 4. Yarn depending. We'll see. We'll see what I'm up to today. Because I'm juggling. I'm juggling between wanting to do video editing, crocheting, and price adjusting in my shop. So I'm kind of just going back and forth and then repeat. So we'll see. I always wish I could just crochet all day and do nothing else. But that's not really how you run a crochet business, is it? So anyway, I'll touch bases at least when I have the squares done and connected, and I'm diving into my stash for fringe, because I'll be using some fabric fringe as well as these yarns, and some specialty like fancy frilly yarns, because we got to make the fringe really fun, right? Okay, so I'll see you a little later. Well, once again, it is the morning I was going to photograph this leaf top, and it's all hazy, but I'm gonna go do it anyway because I need to ship this today. I don't think my customer needs me to ship this today. She was okay with waiting a bit for me to get the yarn online, but on Etsy, it shows it should ship today, and if I don't, then it docks me on my shop status. So I'm gonna go photograph it anyway. I may just wait a few minutes and see if this clears up a little bit. So I started in my usual spot, but I wasn't really liking the strong shadows on the side of my face, so I started moving around the yard. And I think it's kind of serendipitous that I started this chapter talking about how my yard is like a fairy yard, because now I'm out here feeling like a fairy. And part of the magical quality is, of course, the fact that we happened to have some good fog going on this morning. Totally, I feel, gave it, the whole photo shoot, a mystical vibe. Even though I only have one item to ship on this day, I hope we can all agree it's a pretty awesome item. And don't worry, I did remember to add a heart before I packaged it up. And here I am wearing my I voted sticker because I also took my ballot to the mail. If you are in California, please vote yes on Prop 50. Oh me, oh my. So here I've got the 4 finished panels for 1 poncho. Here I've got 2 more. And here I've got the start of a 3rd. So I'm going to finish making the last 2 panels for this set of 4 for a ponchos, and then I'll have 2 ponchos worth. I'm going to do a stitching together with this white to seam them up. And I grabbed out all of these to be the fringe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all the yarns that I use in the body of the vest. I mean, I'm so used to making vests, ponchos. So the main yarns I use in the ponchos, I will also use in the fringe, along with all of this fun stuff too. And so I was realizing that this pink I matched as closely as I could with the shade of pink that she's using in the video, and this is what it looks like. But then I realized as I was pulling stuff out that there are a lot of pinks that I have that are much more pink, and almost by comparison, if I bring them out, or they're kind of like purpley pink, by comparison, this looks way more orange. So I made sure to grab pinks that would go. So as you can see, like these two pinks here are a little bit more bubblegum pink, and these are a little bit more like pink mixed with salmon. This one's a bit of a hot pink, but I feel like it goes well enough. It's not got that purple hue in it that makes it seem to clash. So I think this is a good mixture. I'm about to send my customer a picture of this and get her approval, because I want to make sure to do that first. And I have one fabric over here that I'll use. It's just a white, because I didn't have any fabrics that I wanted to use that were just in blacks, whites, grays, or the kind of pink that I want to use. So at least we'll have some of that fabric. And then this stuff acts kind of like fabric. It's I don't even know what this is, but I only want to use this ever as fringe. I don't do anything else with it. There's probably some way that you crochet with it, but I don't know. And the same thing with this stuff. There's probably a way to crochet with it that, like, I'm guessing would like make this like ruffle up, but I'm not interested in that. So it can go for this. I think there's one more in here that's like that, or maybe not. It's just those two. This is a pretty like ribbon yarn. This one will bring in a little bit of pops of purple, but that's okay, and purple and orange. I think that's okay. So we'll see what my customer says. But I think that'll be a great look for this poncho. And I put the squares next to it so I could really get an idea of how they work together, and I like it. Hello friends, it is another day. It's Friday. I'm going to be going with the family to the zoo lights tonight at the zoo for like Halloween theme, like Zoo Boo or something like that. And by the way, I've noticed for the last several videos, I love it when I have it framed so that you can see like Flying Spaghetti Monster is looking over us. But I wanted to show where I'm at with these ponchos. I have two, and they are pretty identical except for obviously the variegated yarn is going to have the different parts of the variegation in different areas. So that's the only difference really. And with these, see, I've got two. I've got all the ends woven in. They're all obviously stitched together with this fun like zigzag in this white for all the seams. So growing up, I had a poncho, I still do, from my grandma that she made. She didn't make it for me, she made it for my mom, but I wore it a lot and I still have it. And it was the same construction. Actually, I think it's two long rectangles, but it makes the same shape as these four squares put together. And I always wore it with the point going down in the front and in the back. And then just in the last, I don't know, in the past like 10 years, I've seen people wearing them turned like this way so that they are square across the front with the points going down over your arms. And I think that's a really, really cool sort of updated modern look to it. I really like it. So I think that's usually how I opt to wear it now if I'm wearing a poncho, which I actually don't wear very often. But I wanted to show you, I picked out this ribbon type fancy yarn, and it is variegated in like black and silvery gray. I'm going to use this, just a single strand, to lace around the top neck area so that you can cinch it in a little bit and tie it off in a bow in case it's going to fall off your shoulders. You can cinch it in as little or as much as you want. And I'm going to get to attaching all the fringe to both of these. And I'm just going to knock them out both right now. And I need to decide what I'm doing next. Now I'm not ahead on Nanas, so I do need to make another Nana, And I have plans to make another Flower of Life shrug and hood from Star Lily's patterns. And I've started to separate out some peach tones to do a one in peach. And I still haven't gotten to my yarn scraps, and the bag keeps getting more and more full. So after zoo lights tonight, I'll be spending Saturday and Sunday, the rest of the weekend, at my partner Ryan's house. So I need to decide what to bring with me. So, I forgot, for my customer that ordered a poncho, and you see I have another poncho that I can have available for anybody that wants one. I'll make a listing in my shop. She also wants spiderweb gloves. That they're just like little fingerless gloves that Star Lily put out on her Patreon as well, right after she put out this pattern or this tutorial. These are from tutorials on her Patreon that are not in written pattern form yet. So I'll make those real quick right after I put the fringe on these, because those won't take very much time. And I'm not going to have time to get to the post office today, so I'll have to wait till next week to ship, which is fine. And hopefully I'll have some other orders potentially to ship by then too. And yeah, I've kind of been entertaining myself a little bit during when I'm doing other stuff, just having like a YouTube video playing. And so I've just started searching for crochet vlog and finding some other people who are doing some crochet type vlogs and getting a few ideas of some things I'd like to do. So I've got a couple ideas of just sort of like fun little things to include in maybe some upcoming videos. I have an idea for next week where maybe I will just time myself every time I'm crocheting throughout the week and just see how many hours of actual crochet time I'm actually plugging in a full week. And now that I am thinking about that, it will, from week to week, it'll vary greatly based on like what other kinds of work I'm doing. If I'm spending a lot of time updating prices in my shop, I'm obviously not going to get as much crochet done. So I'll think about how I want to do that, and we'll see if we tackle a new scenario of some sort next week. Okay, I just want to point out how pretty this shiny ribbony yarn is when laced up like this around the collar or around the neckline and tied in a bow. I did the same on both, and I positioned the bow over the center point pink panel just because that's sort of the more traditional way to wear it. And I figured I might as well make the pink the center front. And yeah, I think even if I think I'm gonna wear one of these tonight to the zoo boo, and I'll probably turn it on its side, and I'm just not gonna care that the bow is on my shoulder because I don't care. And why not have a bow on your shoulder? So now I need to get to the fringe, but I just remembered something else I wanted to show you. Do you see this? So this was from a few years back. I made a Halloween costume for my daughter. I forgot I was going to show you the last time I was sitting down with the camera on. This is a mask for her costume for Princess Mononoke. If you know, you know. So what I did is I found a very basic like smiley face mask on Amazon, and I cut the holes for the eyes bigger because they were just like tiny little dots. And actually, I think the whole thing was white. Yeah, you can see through to the white there. And it just had like a smile line, I think. Or maybe it was just a straight line. I don't remember. But I used that as the base for this. And then for these pieces, I used, I think, a cardboard. Some sort of stiffer paper that I cut the shape and I wrapped it around and I glued it to itself. This is tons and tons of hot glue gun. So I literally just started taking a strand of red yarn at one side, and I started putting a little line of hot glue, and I kind of pressed it down. And then, as you can see, I folded the yarn up and pressed it down against the glue, and I folded it and kept coming down and up and down and up. That's why the yarn like loops back on itself. Instead of trying to do like a painting or something of the plastic, I just thought it would have a cool rustic look. And I did the same thing with the ears. I believe I used cardboard also for the ears and just covered them in yarn and hot glue. You can totally see the hot glue, but you know what? It looks too cool and like rustic from a distance to care. And then I used black Sharpie for these details on top of the yarn at the end. And this is obviously a crochet chain. And I used black Sharpie to go around the edge of that too, and around the edge of all of these pieces. So, and then I found, as cheap as I could, a faux fur blanket on Amazon. And as you can see, I pieced it together here because I also made, out of the one blanket, I made this part that is attached to the hood, or attached to the mask. So that elastic goes around the back of your head, and then this drapes over your head, and the ears just totally stand up because I gave them like a base at the bottom here. I don't remember how I figured out the pattern for that, the shape, but basically, as you can see, it's got like a base here. And I glued those to the fabric, the faux fur. And I'll show you a picture of what my daughter looked like the first year I made it. And it's been a couple years, I believe, at least since I made this for her. She was a lot smaller, and she wore it for one Halloween and she loved it. She also made herself a dagger. I'll go grab that and show you too. And she's more like her grown adult size now, and she can still freaking wear it because the top part of the dress, like the little over dress part, it's kind of like a little tunic or like a little apron almost, was a pillowcase that we actually had to safety pin in tighter to fit her when she was smaller. And now we just take the safety pins out and it still fits her. So she's going to wear this for Halloween this year. She's 14. And yeah. Okay, so this is the dagger she made. And I think I had a wooden dowel that she wrapped electrical tape over. And then she cut out this cardboard and somehow made this shape for it and taped it up with like Scotch tape and did this painting on it. And I'll just go ahead and show you. She has a simple stretchy blue dress for the under dress, but this is just a pillowcase that I cut apart everywhere except here. That's where we had it pinned on both sides, pinned smaller. And now it fits her without the pins, the safety pins. It's just an old, like, yellowed pillowcase, and with the rest of this blanket fabric, and literally it's just safety pinned to the pillowcase. And then she wears that over her stretchy blue dress. And oh yeah, so I have in a bag all the different parts. This also, they're like stuck to each other. What's going on here? Okay, I see. She just had them poked together. So this was an old pair of earrings that I just didn't even care at all for. Super cheap. So I just glued them to a circle of crochet So those are her, oh, it's like 2 different earrings. I don't even care. So those are her earrings. And in Princess Mononoke, I'm sure there's supposed to be bone. There's her blue dress. And oh yeah, I just got some costume beads that are supposed to look like fangs. And actually, I think what I did was I bought like a fang necklace. It's all plastic, and it was covered in fangs, and I had to deconstruct it, take it apart to make a necklace that looks like what Princess Mononoke wears. So there's that. And then that's it. So she's got some yellow fabric she's going to just tie up over some shoes to make her little booties, which she didn't wear the first time. We didn't have any costume shoes for her the first time. So isn't that cool? I just wanted to show that off. Okay, so I have organized my yarns for fringe into an order here that I like. So you can see I've got a line, it continues on this way, a second line, and a little third line here. And I just I separated initially out all of the bulky weight so that I could, and then also like the regular yarns that I used in the body of the vest. And then everything else I kind of categorized into colors so that I could mix them up in the order. So we don't have like all the bulky weight stuff right next to each other and whatnot. So I just picked a spot to start, and I decided to start with this yarn at the points of the front of each of these. So I cut a length that I like. And I was looking at Star Lily's one that I am working on replicating my own version of. It's very similar, but obviously it's going to be its own unique thing. And I figured that seemed like the right length. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do one strand of each in each spot, in each hole here, regardless of whether it's a thinner one or a thicker one. And so I cut my length, I cut a second one to go on this one, and then I went ahead with the next color over there and used these as a guide to cut the lengths of these. So that's what I'll do, is I'll keep going. I will attach as I go. So I'm going to put these at the corners, and then before I attach actually I need to cut 2 more of these, because what I'm going to do is, am I going to do it that way? Yeah. I'm going to take, or maybe I don't want to do it that way. Let me talk through this. I was going to mirror myself going out, but I think I'm maybe not going to do that. I think I'm just going to go in a continuous line all the way around, following the order. That's what I'll do. So then before I attach these next in line, I will use these as a guide to cut that strand and attach as I go, keep using the last one as a guide for the next one, and work my way around both ponchos at the same time. So I realized almost right away that I don't want to do it that way, where I measure each strand by the previous, because I have done that before and then I end up getting all the way around something like this, and by the end the strand length may have changed quite a bit from the starting. So I actually just measured, and it's like 28 inches that I'm cutting. So each strand that I cut, I'll just measure it against my tape measure there. It's funny because in the tutorial, Star Lily talks about the fact that this poncho turned out inadvertently smaller than the other ones that she made with the same stitch counts. And she said she uses a loose tension, so I made sure to use a loose tension, and I was pretty free with that looseness. And it wasn't until I tried it on that night in front of the mirror that I realized it is significantly enough bigger than her images that I wanted to contact my customer and see if she likes it like that, because if not, I'm happy to remake it with a tighter tension. You can adjust the size of a garment by a whole lot with just tension. So she does like it, but she prefers to have it fit in the smaller size. So that being said, I have 2 of these ponchos available now. And I quickly that evening, or actually the next day, I should say, dove into making her a smaller one. I just tightened up the tension and it ends up fitting just like Star Lily's. It is definitely not the most practical garment to wear, but I think it's really gorgeous. And it's certainly not bigger than a lot of ponchos. A lot of ponchos are this size. It's very common for ponchos to be almost floor length. And it's obviously not going to give you a whole lot of warmth. It's mostly for vibes and for the look of it, because it has so much open space to let air flow through. So really, it is kind of almost just a costume piece, you know, or if you really want to funk up your vibe for the spooky season. So I will have 2 of these available. I am photographing it first in this traditional way of wearing the points at the front and the back. And then I switch and I do basically another whole photo session showing it squared to the front. So that's what you're seeing now. And I try to give a good close-up of the fringe. And I just favored all the pictures where it's squared to the front. I find it to have a bit more of a modern vibe to it. I need to stop using the word vibe. That's enough for this video. But let's just enjoy the slow motion and listen to some music. So here's the one I whipped up later that day after I did the photo shoot in a tighter tension. I also made these gloves. They worked up super fast. I actually made 2 pairs, so I will have 1 pair available. And then I just spread the yarns around me to do the fringe while I was sitting on the couch at my partner's house. And so I got myself really warm, covered in yarns, but look, I've got all these strips cut, all these lengths cut, and I put them in the same order around this one using the original ones as a guide. Well, I kind of felt like I got in trouble with Etsy. I went into my Etsy sellers app and got a notification that they removed one of my listings for not following their policies, I guess. And it said, if you want the details about why, check your email. And I checked my email and I got no email. So within the app, there was an area where I could click in to see what listings were removed. And it was just this one. And so I'm scrolling through the listing to show you. If you want to pause or zoom in to read any of it, please feel free, because I'm very curious why this is not allowed. I've had this listing on here for a long time. It's one of these shrugs with the pattern by Star Lily Creations. And then, so my first thought was, well, maybe because I say Star Lily Creations in the body, in the description, saying that it's her pattern, because I'm using someone else's business name. But that's like standard good practice to say when something is not your own design. And then I thought, well, maybe it's the fact that I put Renaissance Fair and Ren Fair in the title and in the tags. Like, maybe are those copyrighted terms? And no, they are not. I Googled it, unless it's like a specific Ren Fair name that's like, you know, Renaissance Fair of the whatever. So it's not that. It shouldn't be that. And then, so when I was looking at the list of policy things, the only thing I could think of, because I can't imagine that it's copyright infringement, is that it's considered like not family appropriate because there is some cleavage showing in the image. And if that's the case, that's kind of, I mean, that's kind of silly. I am fully clothed. It probably is the listing that has maybe the most cleavage being shown out of all my listings. So maybe that's why. And I did see some information about Etsy using a new like AI tool that is detecting whether things go against their policies. So there is a button that I can click on to say, please review, send for further review kind of thing. But it is deactivated right now, and it says that it is a feature that will be coming soon. So here we go. Etsy is doing the tech thing, apparently, of unveiling a new technology, this AI feature to try to find, sexy, inappropriate cover images for listings and then just delete them outright. No mention of whether I'm going to get my 20 cents back for the listing fee, but block it outright and then give no recourse. Admit that there probably should be some recourse for sellers to be able to put in for a review, but let's not bother with that now. Let's get the AI thing just deleting listings first before we have that option for sellers. So not the end of the world, first world problems, but is there any other thing that you think this could be getting me in trouble for? Because if so, I'd like to know. Basically, this listing is copied and pasted so many times with, a lot of other listings are basically the exact same listing, just with different cover image or different images in the listings to showcase all the different kinds of ways that I can make these shrugs. But anyway, let me know if you have any other thoughts about what that could have gotten in trouble for, because I'm at a loss. So I'll be signing off. Next week, you can look forward to seeing a new photo shoot with the smaller version of this vest. This is still the larger one. But for now, crochet hooks and colors bright, crafting wonders day and night. Join the fun, come see it through, subscribe and I'll create for you.